Hey. What's up? What's up? People got me? How is everybody today? Going live right now. Under the Lights night, Monday night, Charles and I decided to go to one night a week live. We've been going 4 nights a lot, but life's getting busier and busier and busier. Now that school's back, he's back in school. My school's back in school. I'm teaching full time. It ain't summertime anymore. So, let me skip this to my next track. So, we are live, and Charles will be hopping on at about 9. We'll hang out probably till about 10, maybe just before. Talk ball. Usually we get a good little crowd of guys that we just kind of hang out and talk about life, talk about coaching, talk about what was interesting over the weekend. Maybe talk about some X's and O's in there somewhere. That's just kind of the routine. We just really hanging out and enjoying ourselves doing so. So, if you're a coach, hang out with us tonight. We're hanging out from now until around 10. And my man Charles Watkins will be on with me. Charles, the defensive coordinator out of Concordia University, Chicago. In the meantime, I'm just watching my Cardinals play till Charles jumps on. You know, I keep holding out hope for my Cardinals that they're going to catch fire, but the truth is just, they're just very average, you know, which is why they're playing 500 ball right now. They're average. They're okay. They got pretty darn good pitching, pretty good, very mediocre lineup. Of course, they got Goldschmidt in the middle of it, but so Goldschmidt's their great hitter. I mean, he's hitting 311, which is great, 6 home runs. You know, they let Ozuna go, who sputtered with them for the last couple of years, was okay, was a solid hitter, and now he's like in the hunt for the MVP, league MVP. The year after the Redbirds get rid of him, Ozuna's going off with Atlanta, of course. Boy, could the Cardinals use that right now. They would have won another 5 games if they had Ozuna right now. But they don't. So welcome, everybody. Welcome. Nate Allbaugh here, football coach in Illinois. We're going live tonight. Charles Watkins will be in the house with us. Charles is the defensive coordinator out of Concordia University, Chicago. He'll be in the house live with us tonight. And we'll just be hanging out. He'll join us around 9 o'clock. We'll just be hanging out. I'm just watching my Cardinals right now, waiting for Monday Night Football. Although, Monday Night Football probably started by now. But I flipped over. Let's go check in on Monday Night Football. Steelers and Giants. And I made a vow to learn more NFL football this year. How are we doing? Anybody in the house, check in. Let us know that you're here. Let us know where you're watching from. Hanging out right now. Charles usually gets in here around 9 and we'll start talking, but I just figured I'd turn it on a few minutes early. My name's Nate. I coach high school football in Illinois. Let me go switch my name over. I got my wife's name in there right now. Rename. We'll just take her name off of this. I need Charles in the house. I need something good to happen. I need the Cardinals to go off or something incredible to happen because I'm feeling very Mondays-ish right now. Anybody else feeling Mondays-ish? I can feel the Monday. Who is this? It's a quarterback for the Giants right now. Who's Jones? Is that who's Jones? The only name I could think of is Landry. Is there a Landry Jones, though? Who is this kid? Is that Kirk Herbstreit doing Monday Night Football? Hey, this is the college dudes. I feel like I'm watching a college game, but it's the NFL. That's Kirk Herbstreit. Herbstreit. Oh, this Jones is the rookie from Duke? Really? I don't even know this kid. What's his first name? And what's Kirk Herbstreit doing on Monday Night Football? Did they get the contract this year? Kirk and his partner? What's his partner's name? No, not Musburger. That's the old guy. Gosh, why can't I think of his name? I better go Google this. Monday Night Football. Announcers 2020. Herbstreit and Chris Fowler. Oh my goodness. That was not a voice I expected to hear. But I'll tell you what, they do a good job. So I don't hate it. So welcome. Just hanging out. I just figured I'd turn it on a little bit earlier. I'm hanging out here in the office. Charles should be jumping on around 9 o'clock. It is Monday night. Time for a little under the lights. Talk some football. How you doing, Coach Q? Daniel Jacobs out of Duke. No kidding. He came in and took the starting job. Of course, Eli officially retired. So what's new, Coach Q? You think we're going to get football back here in Illinois? Rallies everywhere. You going to go to a rally? Time to flip back to my Cardinals. Nope, they're commercial too. Now, I haven't seen the Steelers with the ball yet. Is Big Ben does he still have the quarterback job for the Steelers? That's what I want to know. Because I heard he's been eyeing retirement. That's not a good sign when I'm over here yawning on Under the Lights. I need Charles in the house. Bring some energy. Just posted another new video to the online clinic. Jim McKee, the last of his 3-video series that I brought over from the store. This one called A Week With Us. A Week With Us with Jim McKee. And he just literally takes you through like their weekly schedule. McKee's one of my favorite speakers in the world. Not sure. I was in CPS coaches meeting until just now. Oh, really? Like that's a lot of coaches. Was that like a Zoom meeting? CPS coaches meeting? Tell me about that. What is a CPS coaches meeting? What goes on there? Is that a regular thing? Is that just a Corona thing? I better let everybody know that I'm live. Let me go grab this link. Like I said, my man Charles should be hopping on soon. Just hanging out, watching the Cardinals. Just turned on Monday Night Football. Once a month, CPS coaches. Man, so how is Monday Night Football already almost over? Are they doing 2 games or something? I thought Monday Night Football didn't start till 8 p.m. on Monday nights. All right, let me go find my live stream. Chief Pigskin. Live stream. Share. Twitter. Here we go. We are live. Now till 10 p.m. I still can't believe Kirk Herbstreit got Monday Night Football gig, man. What do you think that pays? What do you think it pays to be the Monday Night Football guy? Coach Gardner, what's up, man? Did you know Kirk Herbstreit got the Monday Night Football gig? I did not know till just now. I turned it on. And can somebody tell me why the game's almost over? Because Monday Night Football has never started till 8. I have to believe it can only be because they're playing 2 games. Surely, right? Big matchup. Did you guys win last week? Are you guys sitting 3-2? 4-2? What's the record? What's it take to get into the playoffs in Utah? And are you going to make it all the way through the season despite Corona? What's up, Jason Eddings? How are you, man? Gardner says, yeah, and got a little heavy. Got a little heavy. 20 contact days have just been taken away from the CPS schools. Really? Why are the 20 contact days taken away from CPS schools? What's up with CPS? Why are they being difficult? Of course, I feel like it's a little different for you guys too, because like no Chicagoland schools are in school. We're in school, at least downstate Illinois. Eddings, you guys in school or are you remote? Coach Gardner, are your kids in school or are they remote? 3-2. Everyone makes the playoffs. They won 48-3. Dang. And now who's the matchup with this week, Gardner? If you're just getting here, let us know that you're here. Check in the chat. This is Under the Lights. We had been going nightly, Monday through Thursdays, but life was getting awfully busy. And so Charles and I decided to go Monday nights for a while. Monday nights, 9 p.m. We hope you'll check in with us. We'll try to keep it going. This is actually week 5. We're going to get through week 12 before we take a break. We hope you'll continue to check in with us on Monday nights. And if you are here now, check in. Tell us where you're watching from. We got a good little crew that usually hangs out. Charles Watkins should be jumping on pretty soon. Oh, it looks like I'm supposed to let him in. Who knows how long he's been sitting here in the waiting room. Let's get him in here. Sorry, Charles. I just hit admit. Says he's joining. We'll get him in here eventually. What's up, man?
Hey, how we doing, Nate? How's every day?
Good. I didn't know how long you've been waiting. I was lost in the chat, and I stopped looking over here.
Are you all good? You already know. How's everybody doing in the chat?
Good. So I jumped on like 10 minutes ago,
Okay.
just to kind of have it up and running because I don't have any shows running beforehand. And last week, actually, Thursday night, I just got on and I just turned it on, just live. And I just sat here. 2 or 3 guys jumped on. We ended up talking a little football, and it was interesting. So I was like, I'll just throw it on early. But anyway, got some guys in the house already. Coach Q, Coach Eddings, Coach Gardner. Those are the 3 guys that have checked in so far. If you're just getting here, let us know that you're here. Tell us where you're watching from. Coach Q said he just got out of a CPS coaches meeting. And yeah, let us know what the verdict. Oh, he said they just lost their 20 contact days.
What is that? Oh, CPS schools. That's right.
Yeah, why would I don't understand why they would take away their
I heard about that.
So he says no one knows why. That's the frustration. Coach Gardner's preparing for a big time rivalry this week or a big game. He says his school is in school. They're not remote. They're in school. They're playing Stansbury. The region has run through them the past decade before our run the last couple seasons. I'm 0-3 on that field. All right, so you got to get it turned around, Gardner.
Gotta get that one.
What are they doing to you? What are they doing? What's this team like to do? Coach Eddings up in Minnesota, not playing along with us Illinois guys. Big time rallies forming around Illinois. How about in Minnesota? Rallies? We got rallies? Listen, everybody's hot, Watkins, that we ain't playing.
Everybody else is playing around us, right?
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Minnesota's playing,
No,
right?
Minnesota's not.
Okay.
Everybody else around us is playing.
Dude, yeah, man. Well, they just started the petition, right? They're supposed to have something at the Chicago Bears field.
Oh, are they? Well, I heard this Saturday there's a big rally, one in Springfield, one in Chicago.
Yeah, like let us play. It's supposed to be another one.
Yeah. Is it's going to be at Soldier Field?
I think so.
Speaking of Soldier Field, how about them Bears?
How about those Bears, man? Did you watch the whole game?
No, I watched fourth quarter. Well, first of all, I watched a little bit of second quarter. it was tight. And then I had turned away and I saw the score pop up somewhere. I'm like, 23-6, what happened? And I was all discouraged. And then it was 23-13, so I started watching again. And then here they came, baby. And that pick, that fourth quarter pick, 2 minutes to go or whatever. Dude got his arm in, the ball just ricocheted off straight up in the air. As an offensive coach, that you just shudder when that ball goes shooting up in the air.
You know something bad's going to happen.
You're not a Bears fan, are you?
I'm not a Bear. I'm a Cowboys fan, and we did lose. But I will say I stick by his call, though. I do stick by Mike's call that he made in the fourth quarter with 11 minutes to go.
I didn't see the game. What happened? Who beat them?
So the Rams beat them 20-17.
Okay.
Well, if you watch the whole game, it just felt like we weren't in it. Like they just dominated on both sides of the ball. And with about 11 minutes to go, it was about 4th and 4. We're in the Rams 10-yard line. He goes for it. Instead of kicking a field goal to tie it up, he goes for it, which I agree. Just the momentum, everything was going. Of course, they didn't get it right. They lose by 3. But I just felt like it would have been one of those games where we kicked the field goal, Rams waste the time. They kick a game-winning field goal with no time left, we lose. So I just felt like you got to go there, you score, you go up big, and now you force them to score again. Because they were driving, but when they got in the red zone, we kind of bend, don't break.
So did you watch the whole game?
Oh yeah. It was Sunday Night Football.
Oh, okay. Eddings is out of California. My bad, Eddings. Who am I thinking that was? Oh, Freeman, I think, is out of Minnesota. You say California was still online. They go back to school the 18th. Oh, the 18th of this month. So there's a little bit of comeback here. Gardner says used to be wing veer team. Brought in a new guy from another team in our region. And that guy has never beat us. So we will see. All right. Big game. And it's at their place, it sounds like. So why are you a Cowboys fan?
America's team. Growing up, Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, the Moose, Deion Sanders, prime time. So that was, then Roy Williams later after that. They were fun to watch. Always on TV, and it stuck with me. So even
but
through
that's
the
like,
time,
you're from Philly area. And isn't that like the Eagles' big rivalry?
Big rivalry.
And you rooted for the Cowboys.
I did. So the thing about the Eagles is they always break your heart. They always get there and then they lose, and then they don't take care of their best players. They trade you away. They traded away Brian Dawkins, Donovan McNabb, Herschel Walker. The list go on and on. They trade away guys, and I'm like, I can't. That can't be me. So. And I'm glad my mom's a Cowboy fan too.
So Cowboy fan. So did you anything interesting on TV this weekend for football in the football world for you?
The Detroit Lions. So they should have won, right?
Oh yeah.
The running back dropped the wide open touchdown.
Oh yeah. I thought it was over. I was like, no, yeah. Literally, that was me.
Dropped it. So that was just interesting just to see
because he put that ball on the money right in the corner.
On the money, and it's like, man. But to get there though, what 4th and 20, and he converted.
Yeah,
right.
Big time crossing route over that was for almost 30 yards.
Yeah, so we know it was all good. Even on Saturday, Duke gave Notre Dame run for their money.
They did, didn't they? Did you watch that?
They did cover. Huh?
Did you watch that?
I watched the whole thing, man. I was crying. I like what Cut's doing though. He's running some new. All our football fans out there, if you rewatch the Duke game, let me know what you think. He used the tight end and would start him in an I. So it'd be quarterback, tight end, running back, like a pistol, and then a running back will all set, and then the tight end will go left or right, and then sometimes he'll motion out. So, and at first Notre Dame struggled with it, but then they just manned us up and just got more guys in the box. But the first 2 series, they would have their way in the run game.
Man, that's interesting. I didn't see that. I didn't watch any of the game. I was watching my guys Army. I was watching Army a little bit. I love watching Army. And I was watching a little bit of Citadel.
Okay.
I was also watching a lot of baseball too. I'm a big baseball fan.
Where are we at right now? Are we getting down to the crunch time?
Yeah, 2 weeks to go in the regular season. My Cardinals are so incredibly average, it's killing me. But like they still have a really good chance to make the playoffs.
First place?
Huh?
Are they in first place?
No, they're in second.
Nice. So how does that work? Because they changed it, right?
Well, this year and this year only, top 2 in each division, plus 2 wild cards.
Nice.
So they got a good chance to get in, although they're not playing very good baseball. They've lost a lot of close games. They just blew another one today, but they're playing a doubleheader against the Brewers. Edding says, "How about the Bengals?" And then Gardner says, "Watched it. Duke just didn't have the dudes." Yeah, I mean that's what I fear is going to come down to. How about the Bengals? So now I didn't watch the Bengals play. I just saw the final score. Didn't they? Wait, did they play the Chargers or the Rams?
Played the Chargers.
They played the
and that was a
Chargers.
good game, too.
Yeah, I saw they lost
Joe
by 3,
Burrow.
right? How'd he look?
Joe was good. Joe, they lost by 3. So what happened was they go down by 3. Joe puts them in. He drives the field. I think he goes 80 yards. Put him in position to kick a game-tying field goal. The kicker misses it. Not even close. Wide right. And then he after he kicks it, he grabs the ankle. So I don't know if he tore his Achilles as he kicked it, but yeah, that's how they lost. They should have forced. He missed a chip shot.
That would have forced overtime.
Yep.
Wow.
And the Chargers didn't look good. I'll tell you that right now.
Who's quarterback in the Chargers right now?
Tyrod Taylor.
Oh, Tyrod Taylor, because I saw Phillip Rivers is in Indy now.
He's an Indian. He looked good, but they lost.
I was just trying to figure out this weekend who got the starting job for each team, because I haven't paid much attention. And, it's 32 teams, so I'm trying to figure out everybody's starter.
Cam Newton got the start. New England.
Hey, Cam, come on, baby. Remember I told you I invested in Cam Newton.
You called it.
He is so stinking big.
He's huge.
Dude.
He's huge. Dude, they ran I don't even know what you want to call it, but I think Tony Romo called it power, which is funny. So what they did was they had the tight end stand up, tight end crack down the DN and a tackle rat. And
I saw that.
It was basically quarterback. Yeah, it was a great
It was
play
just like
design.
Q sweep. I mean, they just had a nub in, and that's what you're gonna get on the goal line too with press coverage. And he stood up, so he blocks down. It's like you're getting 2 for 1 because you block down, so you're gonna pin this guy inside of you. And the guy outside of you is man to man, so he's gonna come down with you too.
Yep.
Fold that tackle, and then he just walked in, man. Then you got how big is he? What 6'6", 240?
He's huge. Huge.
What do you think his 40 time is?
Right now or before?
No, right now. Cam Newton. He's what, 31?
4.75.
4.75. Which, when you're 6'6", 240, you're still moving. That is still moving. How fast do you guys think Cam Newton is? Now, how fast do you think Patrick Mahomes is?
Man, about 4.9.
So you think Cam's still faster than
Yeah,
Mahomes?
Cam's still faster.
Okay, what's Lamar run?
Oh, 4.4.
4.4.
Easy.
Who's the second fastest quarterback then? Maybe Teddy Bridgewater?
No, Watson. I'll say Watson.
Is
Sean.
Watson fast?
Sean, yeah, he's pretty fast. He can move. Who else?
Maybe Kyler Murray? Can he? That dude can move.
Kyler Murray. There you go. Kyler Murray. He looked. Oh yeah, Kyler Murray. But did you watch any of the Panthers? So did you watch any highlights this week?
Well, of NFL or college?
NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a little. This is, first of all, I usually watch this much NFL. And this Sunday, I watched, it felt like a ton to me, but we're talking 2.5 solid quarters of football. And I had that NFL, what's it called, Red Zone on?
Red Zone.
Yeah, where they just keep going from game to game to game. So yeah, I saw a little bit. I saw a little bit of football.
Did you see the Panthers?
I saw little clips of them. What part of the Panther? What part? What happened in that game? What happened?
Fourth and 4th and 1, 4th and 2, they go fullback dive. Don't get it. Game's over. They don't give the ball player. They don't put the ball in their best player hands. They give it to a fullback.
Who are they playing? The Raiders?
Oh, who was it? Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders.
I think I remember seeing that play now. That I didn't realize that was for the game though. Oh man.
That was for the game.
Dang.
That was for the game. But yeah, it was a shootout too. Minnesota, Green Bay. It was some good games.
I want to see the week 1 stats. I'm looking up NFL week 1 stats. There was somebody that I thought there was a quarterback that had a lot of rushing yards that I was a little surprised about. So I better check in on the chat. Coach Q says, how about Iowa State and Coastal Carolina? Yeah, well, who beat Iowa State? The Raging Cajuns beat Iowa State, right?
Raging Cajuns, University of Louisiana.
Coastal Carolina beat Kansas, right?
Kansas, they beat them. They controlled them the whole game.
Ben Campos in the house. I know Louisiana beat them by like 3 scores, didn't they? Or like
yeah, they dominated.
What the heck? I mean, Iowa State has been playing really good football the last several years.
They have, which is, that was a shocker for me because I think Matt Campbell's doing a great job there. So that was very. We don't know how many players they had missing too. So we don't know how many players opted out.
Yeah, that's true. Joe Burrow rushed for 46 yards. Joe Burrow, 46 yards rushing. I had no idea. Josh Allen out of Buffalo rushed for 57. Cam Newton, of course. Cam Newton rushed for 75. Kyler Murray rushed for 91. Joe Burrow outrushed Lamar Jackson.
Ooh.
Boy, Kansas.
Lamar didn't have to do much against the Browns.
Boy, no kidding, man. Why is Kansas so bad? Why can't Kansas get it going?
Where you recruiting at?
I don't know. Well,
you're recruiting.
I mean, there's been a lot of guys go in there and try, and nobody can do it.
Right. So okay. If Nick Saban goes there, does it become a top 5 program?
No. But I want to know why.
Okay. There you go.
Do you think it does?
There you go. I think that's a good question. I don't. I think Nick Saban's very smart. The schools he chose, he knew he could win at. I don't think he could win at Kansas. I don't think they have the resources, the location to back it up. And it's a basketball school. So it's all those things tell me no.
But schools have changed. Like, what about Duke? Why can't they be as good as Duke? You can't tell me Kansas is more of a basketball school than Duke.
True. That is so true. But what I guess what's the ceiling for Duke? Right? Duke will go 6-6, right? 6-6, 7-5 at best.
Okay, but still, Kansas can't do that. When's the last time Kansas was 7-5 or better?
What was their record last year?
Did they make a bowl last year? We're going to look it up.
That was Les Miles' first year, right?
Oh, that's right. Kansas is Les Miles. Kansas Jayhawks football. Beat by Coastal Carolina. That's a tough one. I feel bad for them. I don't know where to find last year's stuff. How'd they do last year? Somebody in the chat's going to know this. Hey, Coach Q says they need Paul Johnson there.
Yes.
Why not? Why not? They need to go there and do something.
What is Paul Johnson doing right now?
That's what I don't know. Does anybody know where Paul Johnson is right now? Get somebody over there, run the flex bone. Basketball, then basketball, then basketball. Oh, then track. Yeah, why is that, though? Why can't Kansas get it rolling? Why, you can't tell me that Kansas State is in some infinitely better
Kansas State lost
place. Right. But even still, their football program has always been so much better than Kansas.
They were 3-9.
Kansas was a year ago?
We lost to Coastal Carolina last year, too.
I know, 2 years in a row. How'd you find that?
Just looked on the schedule.
And it showed last year's?
You had to click on 1920.
Okay, so there are 2 Monday night games this year.
Yes.
How long is that? How long they've been playing 2 Monday night games? It's Titans and Broncos, huh?
I want to say like 2 years now.
Because I was expecting it. I turned it on expecting it to be just getting going. And the game was almost over.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause you know Monday Night Football didn't really get rolling until like 8:30 in the normally.
Back in the day, right?
It'd be on late, man. Of course, this game's going to be on late. They're looking for Paul Johnson, see if we can figure out where he is. So are you guys using all your contact days this year? Or like, you getting the kids out for some practice yet?
Not yet. Thursday. Thursday will be the first day. We'll go all the way. We'll go the rest of September. And then we'll go October. And then we'll be done right before like the second week of November. So we're getting the most days that we can get that we're allowed. We just want to meet and get out there in the practice field. So
How long you guys spending on the field?
Well, it's 2 hours.
2 hours.
Yep. We'll get
How
2
long you
hours.
spending
We'll
on
go-
special teams then? About a third of that?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question. Man, I don't know. I don't know if we do any special teams.
What? Have you not passed on the message to Aubrey?
Nah, we'll do some special teams. We'll do 15 minutes worth a day.
You need to do some fraction work, buddy. You need some fraction work. You spent a whole offseason telling me it was a third of the game, and now you're spending like 10% of your practice on it, which is not a third.
Hey, when I become the head man, you'll know what.
Okay, I'm gonna hold you to that. I'm gonna come back and however many years that is, and I'm gonna check on you to see if you're doing that. So, what's the recruiting trail look like for you in the fall? Like, what do you do as the recruiting coordinator now that this is like a weird fall for you?
Man, it's a great question. 'Cause I literally was just looking at a plan. So literally about 3 o'clock today, the AD like drops a bomb on us and like, if estates on Cook County's basically do not admit list, they can't fly here. So like Florida, Texas, Georgia, all our powerhouse states, the kid will have to drive. He can't fly or he can't visit, at least for the fall. Don't know about the spring yet. So I'm just trying to come up with ideas about how can we, get them to drive here or just recruit virtually. So that's the issue that I'm dealing with right now. We'll come up with something by Wednesday. But other than that, we got a great group of kids in our database that we like right here in Illinois, right in the Midwest. That's where we wanted to make our money at, this recruiting class, and be able to pick some kid from those other states. But we feel really, really good about the Midwest and, trying to build connections with the coaches, see what the coaches are up to. And then, go to games if we can. So go to Indiana, seeing them local games that's close, that's right over the bridge. And just try to find a kid, a hitting gym, which is hard to do these days. But I feel like there's a few out there that I got my eye on.
Coach Gardner says, come on out to Utah. Now, Wisconsin is starting to play here in another week or so, or like maybe they're just getting going.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Wisconsin football. So you might want to zip across the border there. There's a lot of football right there across the border, man.
I did reach out to some of those guys that Coach sent me. Coach sent me a list. Man, those guys are big time. They telling me they got this school, that school. They got Ivy League schools. I'm like, man, like, you got some super smart kids over there, Coach.
Dang. Dang. Well, you know what? Because that's that big time mountain money, baby.
That's that big time mountain money.
Mm-hmm. That's what Coach Gardner coaches. He got that mountain money, boys. I gotta see this high school. How many kids at your high school, Gardner? How many at yours, Coach Q? And if Edding's in the house, tell us how many at yours. How many at Back of the Yards? And is Back of the Yards public? Is Back of the Yards a public school?
It's public school. Public school.
How did it get the name Back of the Yards? How do you feel about Michigan having to
town.
play masked? I didn't know that. Michigan high school has to play masked?
I didn't know that either.
Dude, that would be so hard. So we had our first outdoor, like, it's technically a contact day, right? It was kind of like a practice, no contact, but the kids were in helmets at least, and everybody's got masks on, and it was a little warm. You know, I'm used to wearing my mask now all day at school. We're at school all day.
Right.
I wear it all day. It's not hard. It's a little annoying sometimes, but you take that thing outside in 90 degrees. Oh my gosh, that thing gets so, you're like, and I wasn't even practicing. Like, these kids are running around. I can't believe the Michigan kids have to play masked.
Wow.
Coach Gardner says CEO's kids don't go to JUCO. 1,100 kids in the school. So back of the yards is public.
I believe so.
It just surprises me because just the name doesn't sound public, does it? That sounds.
Back of the yard. Sound elite.
It does. But yeah, at the same time, maybe back of the yards kind of sounds like a little rough around the edges too.
Back of the yards.
You know? I can't figure it out. About 1,000. Okay. Wait. But only 35 to 40 in the school? What? Was it? I'm lost. He said there's 1,000, but only 35 to 40 in the school.
Were they homeschool? The rest of the kids homeschool?
That's what I'm wondering. Maybe only 35 to 40 are in
big.
person.
Well, ask the guys in the chat too, especially your guys that are close to like Colorado. Dude, I heard their high schools take like one class a semester. Like they take a class for like 4 weeks. Cornell College right here in Iowa does the same thing. They take one class. I don't know if it's quarterly or if I'm using the wrong term, but they take like chemistry for 3 weeks, and they take another class for 3 weeks, another class for 3 weeks. There's a high school. Yeah, there's a high school in Colorado that does that.
Really? I don't know what I feel about that, but it's not a bad idea. Like, you just get to focus.
Yep.
But, you know, I feel like it would work well for some classes and maybe not as well for others. Like Spanish. How much of a language can you learn in 3 weeks?
Right. Do you go to Spanish 1, Spanish 2, Spanish 3?
That's a good question. That would be unique. That would be really unique. Now, where did you go? You said, I heard in your podcast with your other coach or your dude on campus that you played ball somewhere else in college besides Duke too.
Yeah, so I got my master's at Wagner right there in Staten Island.
What? So go on. I don't even know of Wagner.
Yeah, so it's an FCS school.
So you graduated from Duke?
Yep. So I graduated. So I had another year. So I graduated Duke in 3.5 years. And the thing was like they kind of wanted me to get my master's in like liberal arts or get another undergrad. And at that time I was like, I knew NFL was a long shot. So I was like, all right, let me go back home, get my master's. And I knew I'd definitely be the number one there. And so it helped being close to home too, seeing a family. And then I got my master's in education. So I knew I kind of wanted to get into teaching, which at Duke, it was a liberal arts school. So they only like offered it as a minor. But yeah, so I did that for that year. And well, it was a year and a half. I graduated and got my master's.
Wow. So you went through, got your master's, and you played another year of college football at Wagner.
Yep, K-6. That was my focus.
And how'd that go? Did you get some playing time at Wagner?
Yeah, so that was really good. I probably had my best college season at Wagner. Set some school records in that season. We didn't do too good on the field. I think we went like 500. Got our butts kicked by Syracuse.
Oh, you played Syracuse, huh?
No, Syracuse beat us. They whooped our butts. We played up there though. So that was my first time playing in the dome. Because they're on the other side at Duke, so we didn't really face them until I left. But that was pretty cool playing there in that dome, seeing all those legend jerseys, Jim Brown and everybody. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Got to see Manhattan, travel a little bit in New York. I wasn't a fan until I until I lived in New York for a year.
Yeah. Wait. So now, how far was New York from home?
So if you take the turnpike, it's probably an hour and a half.
Okay. Whereas Duke was how far?
Duke was by like a 6.5, 7 hour drive.
Oh, okay. So it was quite a difference.
Yeah, it's in Durham, North Carolina.
Yeah, yeah. You know, you get out east and it's hard. I don't keep a lot of track on what it's like out there. Of course, it's like there's so many cities that it's slower too. It's like I mean, there's people everywhere on the East Coast, man. Coach Gardner says 40. He's listened out. How many is that? How many in the program? How many in the program at each in each grade? 47 in 9th grade, 39 in 10th. 21 11th, 17 seniors for 124 total. Can only dress 50 for a game at any level? Oh, wow. What? Even varsity? They have that limit on you? I don't understand the limit. What's the purpose of that? Coach Q told us the name Back of the Yards. Got the name because we are between Inglewood and the Stockyards and play football. Okay. So got the name because we're in between Inglewood and the Stockyards, Back of the Yards. Okay. Specifically, the back of the Stockyards is technically what it would be. Back of the Stockyards High School.
There you go.
That is awesome, man. And,
yeah, it's like a neighborhood. Back of the Yards is a neighborhood, yeah.
So are you guys then, Coach Q, I got to believe you guys run the flex bone, right? You're flex bone at Back of the Yards because I know Coach Q loves it. Social distance in the bus and the sideline. So do you have like dots on the field or little cones the kids have to stand by 6 feet apart? I would take that though at this point. I like that. I don't know what's going to happen in Illinois, but I would take it.
Are you guys like taking temperatures before practice, Nate?
Well, again, we've only had one thing. And I don't know. I wasn't there right at the beginning of it. I was still running some stuff out of my classroom. By the time I got out there, all the kids were on the field and throwing passes already. So I didn't see anybody taking temperatures for us. Now we do have to take temperatures of all the kids when they first get to school, right? So like we're in school, so maybe they just figure, hey, they got it that checked that morning. Maybe they don't have to.
So they got like wait in line and go one by one and get.
Mm-hmm. But there's like 4 or 5 entrances. Yeah, so they come in and it's like beep, 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 beep. But these thermometers, I don't even know if they're legit, man. I feel like they just have 4 numbers that it just rotate through.
98, 97,
yep.
96.
Yep, just and you get the same thing. It's always 96.8, 97.1, 97.8. It's just on rotation. Coach Gardner says, yep, social distanced. They're 2 platoon, 2 deep, and kicker is 45. Issue in blowouts. Yeah, I bet it's an issue, man. Back of the Yards is selective enrollment school. We're going to it this season since I am now also the OC. So this will be your first year going Flexbone, Coach Q. Wow. The field has yard markers, so we know 2 yards apart. Okay, yeah. Everybody's got to be 2 yards apart on the sideline. Oh, Coach Q going pistol Flexbone. Why pistol and not under center?
That's my offense.
Okay, well, at least you...
pass.
How about the pistol? You going to go with the sawed-off pistol, the short pistol? You would go pistol?
Short pistol. I like short pistol.
Would you go short pistol or full, like 5 yards gun?
Short pistol, 3 yards.
3 yards. You wouldn't do that at the college level.
3 yards.
Nobody at the college level would do that. New Mexico doesn't go 3 yards, do they?
Man, I gotta do more research.
No,
they're at 5.
They're at 5.
They're at 5.
They're definitely at 5. Okay, so he says yes, sir, as in the Fisher Bunnies style. Fisher Bunny style. Have you seen? You need to watch on Chief Pigskin Jake Palmer's offense.
Jake Palmer.
Yes,
okay.
This sawed off the bunnies, the Fisher Bunnies, sawed off pistol triple option. Dude, it is slick, man. It is nasty little high school offense.
Was he still the same?
Just true option stuff. Like whatever an under center Flexbone team would run, veer midline. I mean, that's where they're making their living, veer midline. But dude, it's just nasty. They're doing like this 1 yard snap.
1 yard?
1 yard. 1 yard.
Did he explain why 1 yard?
So, like, for them, okay, there's a couple reasons. Number one, instead of their kid coming from under center and stepping backwards at that angle for that veer,
Yeah.
they literally just take it and turn, right? So, and the snap, and now he said then there's like that placebo effect too. The kids feel like they're gone. But dude, here's how close their quarterback is. He bends down and he can slap the center's butt. He reaches out and can slap his butt, and he sits there like this. And so, like, you can see my mic, but he's like, his hands are next to his face. He's like right here, whatever their cadence is. Red 30. Red 30, say hit, and that thing is just on him immediately. Does this little flat little dead snap back there. Dude, they're nasty with it. He's got like 180 kids in his school.
Wow.
And their conference has had the state champ come out of their conference like 4 out of the last 6 years.
Man.
Or one of the teams that either won the state title or was in it. And he's competing in this conference, man. Everybody's bigger than him. They're giving people fits. He's winning game after game, like tight game. Dude, it's awesome. It's awesome. I'm a big fan, man. And it's pretty nasty. You guys see it.
Is this where's he at? Is it Iowa?
No, Fisher, Illinois. So it's
Fisher,
like
Illinois.
just
Okay.
north of Champaign.
Okay.
Yep, they're the Fisher Bunnies.
Fisher Bunny. All
They
right.
won the Illinois State helmet competition.
Oh, nice.
They got this BA
remember
bunny, this BA bunny on the. It's awesome. You got to. But dude, he's so good. He's a great young coach. Okay, Coach Q says, I already watched it. He said, I already watched it with the short pistol with that flex bone. Only difference is slots are 1 by 1. Okay, slots are 1 by 1 off the tackle. Yeah, their helmets are sweet. Wait, so if your slots are 1 by 1 off the tackle, what are Fisher's slots? Would you run pistol and double slot?
Me?
Yeah. You like
Absolutely.
that?
Let's
I still don't think I believe you. I think you just say that for
I
effect.
want to be able to control the time of possession, eat up the clock. If we score home runs, we score home runs.
Okay, are you going to call the offense when you become a head coach?
That's a great question. Can I call offense and defense?
You're the head coach. You can do whatever you want.
I would say no. If I'm the head coach, I want to get guys that can focus on that, because now I'm really seeing what it takes to be a head coach, especially at the college level.
So you don't think you would call either side?
If I'm the head coach, no. So that's how I know when I'm ready to be a head coach. That means I'm okay with giving up the play calling.
That's hard to do.
It's so hard, dude. It's so hard. So that's why I'm enjoying being a coordinator. But no, I will say, man, being back on the offensive side is enticing too.
I know, right? It's fun to call plays. Coach Campos says Troy Triad has a nasty flex bone team. Are there any flex bones out by you, Gardner? Pass pro is hard from pistol. Why is pass pro hard from pistol? Tell us, Coach G.
That running back, add him to the protection.
Yeah. Wait a second. Coach Q says their slots are going to be 5 yards from the end man on the line of scrimmage, in line with the QB at 2 yards. What?
So say that again. 5 yards.
Okay, so they're 5 yards from the inland on the line of scrimmage,
Okay.
and they're 2 yards deep, which is even with the QB.
Wow.
This is interesting. Okay, Coach, go on, Coach Q. Why? Where's this coming from? Who's your inspiration for this?
Is that the bunnies or that's him?
No, this is him. This is what Back of the Yard's about to do.
Is anybody coming in motion? What we doing?
Well, surely. I mean, come on. You run an option football. Someone's coming in motion, like
Are
Muskegon.
they facing inward? Are they facing like a receiver? What's the
Yeah, are they? Let us know, Coach Q. Are they Are they in a true receiver stance? Are they like in a wing back? And he says like Muskegon and Mona Shores. Now I've never heard of Mona Shores. Where's Mona Shores?
That might be Texas.
Gardner says he does not see any flex bone. Thank God.
I'm with
Charles, I will run your defense with Allbaw's D.
you. Let's do it. Let's do
I'll tell you what, man. That's the thing about that. I'm like, how about you guys? So Coach Q, you're calling an offense this year. That's awesome. Coach Campos, you call the defense. Coach Gardner calls the defense. So we got one OC in the house and 2 DCs. And with you, that's 3 DCs. So Watkins has said when he becomes a head coach, he'll give up all calling. How about you guys? When you guys, let's assume that you are going to become a head coach, Campos, Quiroga, Gardner. When you become a head coach, will you continue to call the side of the ball that you're on? Will you switch, or will you give it all up and let someone call both sides? Now, the year Watkins that we had our best run, 2015, we made the state semifinals. I had an OC and a DC.
Nice.
Now, worked really, really close with both, obviously, right? And the offensive coordinator, they were both actually in the box.
Oh, really?
So they're both in the box. We had a really good defensive assistant who the defensive coordinator relayed his play calls through, so he'd call in the plays. And then my OC would call in the plays through me, right? And so I felt good about that because, first of all, he was really good. I really just let him go. But we relayed our plays in, so like if I really had a strong feeling, I would just change it. And and he was one of my best friends, so he wouldn't have to be like, he wouldn't be insulted if I changed the call, So it's like, hey, I want to go, let's say rocket right, and I'm like, let's go belly right, and I send it in. I mean, that probably happened like once a game. Right, and so like that's not bad, right? And so he was like, yeah, okay, right? And we'd talk about it afterwards, right? But for the most part, man, I just let him go, and we'd call that stuff, and then all of a sudden I'd be like, hold up, let me get one. He'd be like, all right, go, right? Because I might have a feeling. I mean, it worked out really well, but that was when I had some guys that we had been on the same staff for a couple of years. I think that'd be really hard to just walk into or just like name 2 guys, the men that you hadn't worked with before.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That'd be hard.
I think that's why you see a lot of guys that get promoted is because they know the system. If that means like they were in the system for 3 years and left and they come back and hire them as a DC or OC, but you got to know that guy's system. You got to know the ins and outs, the nuances, I think is the biggest thing because, everybody's running 4-2-5, but everybody's not running how I run it, right? And I'm not running how they run it. So some guys might be a quarter guy. Some guys might be a cover 2. Some might be a cover 3. So that's why you should be very versed in all these things. But until you actually know what that person's thinking, right? Like if I came in, Jason probably wouldn't want me to be his OC because I'm not going to throw it 60, 70 times a game, right? I'm going to try to, if anything, I'll be 60-40 run. Mm-hmm. Right. So you gotta, when you hire a guy, you gotta know what you want and trust that that his play call will be something that you would have called. I think it's also what it comes down to. When you hire somebody, you're hiring somebody that's like you, or close to you, a clone.
Yeah.
So that's how it works.
That's why think it'd be so hard for some of these college guys who honestly are getting like a different OC every year. I mean, at these big time programs, because they go win and then they lose their OC because their OC gets a head job. And they lose their DC because their DC gets a head job. And then they just got to keep rotating it. That would be hard to do. Then you got to work with a new guy. And because with each guy, you got to have hard conversations.
You got to have a tough conversation. I wonder if, how do you keep the foundation? Or do you keep the foundation? Or do the kids have to learn a new playbook?
No, there has to be some absolutes. Surely, if you're the head coach, there's some absolutes or like some base language. You say, hey, here's our base language. Right? Go ahead and build what you like off our base language. Well, Coach Campos, let's see. Coach Gardner says, ideally, I'll handle special teams and have guys to call the other sides. Ben Johnson. Hey, what's up, Ben Johnson? Didn't see your name sneak into the chat there. Tell us how your team's doing. Down in Indiana, we got another coach who's playing ball. I was always an offensive guy, but have to say I've loved switching to defense. They're 4-2-5. He switched about 10 years ago. Ben Campos, I will give it up. Work close with them both. Coach Q, I'm going to have to be the O-line, OC, and head coach. Tough deal, not by choice, but he's going to have to do it all. Coach Gardner says his concern is I'm a prick, overly demanding. So who knows how long I stay hands off. Now, see, I had that OC. So my OC gets a head job, right? Because, again, same thing happened to us. We were really good. My OC, and our offense became really well known. We scored 1 million points. So we score 1 million points. We're good. His ticket's hot, so he takes it, gets a head job. So I got to replace my OC, and for the first year I did it. The next year I had a guy I felt like I could do it, and I definitely screwed it up. I kind of just let him go, right? And I didn't work with him to build it. Gotcha. So then when it came time to go to call plays, there was a lot of stickiness because I wasn't comfortable with what was going on because I hadn't built it with him. Whereas the guy before him, I had built it with him. And again, it was my fault because I gave him permission to go. So he went, right? Yeah. And then I changed my mind when we got close and I'm like, no, wait, this is not the direction I wanted it to go.
So elaborate more on that. So when you say you let him go, like, give us a scenario.
Okay. So Ben Johnson, by the way, just response. He said they're 1-3 currently, and they were just coming off the state championship game, man. Our first 3 opponents are sitting at a combined 12-0. Woo!
Oh wow!
Brutal
That's
start
tough,
to the
bro.
schedule. Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah, that's
tough.
But sometimes that's how the schedule lays out. But that's where you just got to keep with the kids. And so here's what I did. I said, okay, basically said I'm willing to go away from my wing T. Right? This is a guy, so he had played college football, Division I college football as a quarterback. He had a really good head on his shoulders. He had helped us call plays a lot the year before. Wasn't technically the OC, but was starting to get a lot of control the year before of the offense. And so here this second year, I was like, okay, he's the natural fit for the OC. I said, you can do it. You can run the offense. Here's the things I want to stay consistent. Like, here's how we call formations, and here's how we call. It was like a couple of our base plays, right? Like, don't change the names of these base plays. But for the most part, I gave him freedom to change some things, and kind of just run with, like saying, you don't have to run wing T.
Gotcha.
And so I gave him that freedom. So what happened was, though, that things got sticky and things got difficult because we weren't incredibly talented like we were a couple years before, right? That makes everything so much easier when you're incredibly talented. Well, we weren't. Things got sticky. And his fixes and my fixes weren't the same fixes. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So it's like the solution to fix said problem, I wanted it fixed, and it was, his solution to fix wasn't the same because again, we hadn't built this beast together, and so I think that's important, at least at the high school level. You got to have somebody that you've worked with for a couple years, or if you haven't, that you've built the beast together, because then when the push comes to shove, like I said, your answers are the same answers.
Right. So when did you? Well, 2 questions here because this is interesting. When did you take back the play calling, and did you go back to like wing T, and then did he just stay coaching? Did he leave the following year?
Yeah. So we had some things come up, and I think I didn't handle some things well. He may not have handled it perfectly. Ultimately, I am taking the responsibility that I didn't handle it real well, and ended up letting him go.
The same year?
It was before this season officially started. It was literally like right as we were getting ready to start.
Gotcha.
So it got sticky, really sticky, and let him go. And again, I don't feel good about this at all, right? So like I want to do it over again. You don't get to in life, right? You don't get to. I wish I could do it over again because I think he's a good dude that did what I asked him to do. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that simple. But last thing, I don't want to call anybody out. Like he had some things maybe he could have done better, but at the end of the day, things got messy in a certain day, and some things were said that shouldn't have been said. And
two alpha males. Oh yeah.
Maybe so. Yeah. And I want to do it over again. I've run into him since and apologized, and I'm sincere about that apology, man. I'm like, I don't feel good about it. I just wanted him to know. I'm like, listen, I can't change any of this. And ultimately, like, you should have been able to call the plays for us that year. I needed to be more mature about it and handle it better. But here's the thing. So I just feel like we don't get to that sticky point where he says some things maybe he shouldn't have said. I don't think we get to that point if I handle it differently months before that. You know what I mean? That's where I think ultimately it came down to being my fault. And as a leader, I failed there, not setting up the structure correctly.
And this was what, 5 years ago?
Yeah, maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. So yeah, you're such a big person for that, admitting like, hey, I messed up here. Now I do it over, right? But I think that takes a lot of growth, especially in this profession where we got a lot of guys that have egos and aren't willing. So I commend you on that. That takes a big person.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of, I've lost a lot of sleep over it. And I think, and it hurt our kids too, because they like this dude. He's a good dude.
Gotcha.
So it hurts your kids, it hurt everything. It hurt our team because we spent a whole summer doing one thing and then back to what we were. Like, so you talk about just it was poor coaching on my part in a lot of levels, and some valuable life lessons learned out of it. And one of them too is just humility and grace, and how to handle things with dignity, and how to be able to not win every battle.
Right.
Like, I think I needed to be willing to not win that battle. And I wasn't willing to at the time. But I regret that. I think I needed to be able to lose that battle. And I think that I would have been okay coming out the other side and maybe a better person for not winning that battle. Because you can't tell me, like, these guys that are college football coaches working with more other college football coaches, they're all great leaders, have great ideas. Like, things have to get sticky for them. They have to get into like really nitty gritty times in meetings, especially if your team's not doing well. Right.
Absolutely.
And as a head coach, like, you gotta be able to handle that. So I think it was a good lesson for me to learn, but I feel bad for him because in the end, he got the brunt of it.
Right. But I do say, Nate, though, that certain lines you can't cross, though. And I don't know what was said or not, but you were the head coach. And I think at some point, if it gets too sticky, he has to know what not to cross. I think that's where the D1 level, those guys voice their opinion, they let it be known, but they don't cross that level.
Sure.
And it could be for so many reasons. It could be because this is how they feed their kids, right?
Yeah.
And so they kind of know that line. They might walk closely across it, but they're not going to cross that line, which I think young coaches, I'm sure he's a young coach, he didn't know that. But now, hopefully, that same situation, what you learned from and able to grow, he's able to do that same thing where he can own up and say, hey, maybe I was wrong. Looking back at it, I shouldn't have said this or I shouldn't have done this. He could have handled it better than how he did it.
Maybe so. I think that, like I said, I'm sure that he wasn't perfect in it, but I do really feel the responsibility and take most of the blame. And when you look at a big coaching career, so I was a head coach for 11 years. You have a lot of assistants in 11 years. And I think anybody that's been a coach for 11 years can think about, there's going to be a couple relationships in there that you got to work through, right? And there were some tough spots in there. And that was one of our tough spots. We got a lot of success stories and a lot of stories, a couple little stories where I think I should have done better.
It's crazy how we remember those stories that we should have done better, right? We had a lot of success, but it's those one or two, like even with players, like I look back and say, man, I wish I had a relationship with this kid or with this coach, right? Mm-hmm. That always sticks with us. But no, that was, man, so I remember I watched the defensive structure, how he goes about his game plan. I watched that. That was really good. A lot of stuff. That's actually what I do. Look at their top passes, their top runs. I was going to ask you, what are some things that you look for when you're trying to hire an OC? Or how would you want your OC to call a game?
Me personally?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were talking about when you watched Coach Campos' thing?
Coach Campos, yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. So you hear that, Coach Campos?
We did a really good job.
Yeah. All right, man. So you watched that. I'm glad.
My DC too.
Yes. I thought he did a really good job laying that stuff out for the week. for me, like what I look for, what I look for is a couple things. Number one, it's got to have somebody, in my opinion, that's good. First of all, at the high school level, you don't always have that much of a choice because assistants they're hard to find, right? I mean, a good assistant is hard to find. Sometimes you get lucky. But once you do have like a good staff, for me, if I go, this is a guy that I think could call plays. So what I've found is for me at the high school level, I know if it's the first year I've ever worked with the guy, I don't think it's a good idea for him to be a coordinator. Gotcha. Okay. But what I will tell a guy is this: I think you could be my coordinator. And if things go well, I'm trying to get you ready to take over for coordinator, right? This might not be for a year. Maybe it'll be week 6 and you can start taking over. I don't know, right? But I can't put a number on it yet. I don't know you. Like I just met you, right? And there's only so much I can see on paper. We got to work together, right? So I've learned that. I think it's important to work with a guy at the high school level. But I think you got a guy the type of guy that I know I would trust he's a learner, right? I mean, he's a studier, and he's the type of guy that you're getting texts from that about something he saw, or if you're watching this, did you see this? Did you see that? Have you seen this? I'm checking out this weekend, right? And so like, he's watching, right? So I think he's got to be that type of a guy. I think that's huge because the last thing you want is to be asking your coordinator to watch film or asking him to, like, I think you're just in trouble if that's what you end up with, like begging a guy to watch X amount of film. So you got to have a guy that loves it, is studying. And then you got to have a guy that is willing to that you think that you can work with, like literally sit in a room and have ideas, and that he has ideas of his own, but yet he is accepting your ideas. And I think that there's a lot of guys that can fit that, but there's also a lot of guys that struggle with that in one way or another, and they have to be able to sit and do that with you. They have to be able to sit with you and take your ideas and go, okay, yeah, and respond genuinely to that. And then at the same time, they have to at some point offer a unique idea that carries some weight, because that's when you know that their brain is ready for this, that their brain is thinking schematically. You know what I mean? They're not just thinking like responsively, and they have to be able to carry their own thought. So it's this I think all that has to happen. Again, at the college level, when you got a guy that's come in, maybe that's done it before, you can see on his resume, he called it at this school for 4 years in this school. But at the high school level, for the most part, like you're building guys into this. It's not often you get a guy that has called an offense or defense before.
Especially calling your offense too, right?
Oh, for sure, right? Like I can't tell you how many guys, like when I took over at Central, first of all, I was coming in at Central and everybody the consensus was that the wing T was dumb and you can't run it at a big school. I mean, it was very well known. Everybody was telling me, and all the guys on my staff were like, dude, we're spread guys. We're listening though. We're listening, right? And they listen, and next thing I know, 5 years later, they're all like sworn by the wing T, baby. They're like, okay, we're in. So they had to listen. So that's what it is, really. And now my guy that was my OC, who has now is a head coach, and we were really good. He was one of those guys that was like a spread guy and started working with me. And again, he was a spread guy, but we were very like-minded in that, like wanted to approach systematically and attack systematically, and we wanted to know our if-thens. If they this, then we this, right? Like, he loves thinking like that. So that, for me, was a really good match. Defensively, I don't know if you ever met Tim Turner, who's the head coach at Champaign Central now. He took over after I left.
Okay.
Great dude. He was like my right-hand man for everything. Like he was Johnny on the spot, attendance, everything. Johnny on the spot, man. Hardest working dude I've ever had on staff with me. I knew he could handle the defense when, like, eventually 3 years later, after literally doing everything you could want a man to do, and he's been with us every step of the way running, and everything we've said we wanted to do, he's like, got it, we'll do it just like that. He earned that job just by being the hardest working man that we had seen. And so that's how he finally earned his crack at being DC. And then went from defensive coordinator to head coach again, because the AD saw, he asked me, he's like, who's the, first of all, I had a ton of great assistants, like 5 of them are head coaches now. And they're all really good. But I think all of them, down to the last man, will say, Tim Turner is the hardest working man on staff. That everyone knew it. So Tim worked his way into it, not by necessarily having great ideas. He was clearly an independent thinker, but he wasn't like trying to think outside the box or trying to do anything magical. He was reliable and a hustler and was willing and was like, he was always there. First guy there, last guy to leave, all the time, and you clearly had a good head on his shoulders. I'm gonna check back in with the guys in the chat. Coach Gardner says, I give every coach on the sideline a hug before the game because I'm about to go to a space that's very different. I want them to know I care for them. But it's about to go dark, he says. Campos says, hey, in response to you watching this video, Quiroga says, my man, all ball. Do you guys map games that you scout? Or do you just watch and get the info? I'm a mapper. I was wondering what that meant. What does it mean to map games? Do you know, Watkins?
That's new to me. That's new language.
Tell us what it means to map a game. Coach Quiroga says, how about having to ask coach to try to get better by studying in the offseason? I had to do this at my first head coaching stop, and he resigned. I couldn't believe it.
So I will say it's kind of like a dying trait. I'll be honest. For whatever reason, a lot of people don't want to watch film. And they don't want to watch practice film. They don't want to watch game film, which is crazy to me. Even like I don't know if you heard, but Bill Belichick, he has his staff 22. Have you heard of that? So he has them every play. They gotta write down what all 22 guys offensive defense did that play. And this is why a lot of his guys have gone on to become head coaches. You know, that's how the guy, I'm pretty sure, Judge just became a head coach for the Giants for doing those little things. But I think you got to love it. And then, at Rutgers, it was like we were, and I guess it's D1 too, but we lived in the film room. And, you know, a little different now. But I will say our staff do watch a lot of film. But I guess at that level, it's like you're constantly doing it.
So what kinds of things are you looking for?
For when at Rutgers or now or in general?
What were you doing at Rutgers? You said it was constant film. So what were you looking for?
So it was before practice, we're watching scout film, and then we'll go to practice, and then now we're watching practice. And so we're watching all the periods. We're watching one-on-ones, watching 7-on-7, watching one-on-ones offensive line, D-line, watching team, watching scout now. So and we're literally watching every play too. So we're watching every play, grading every play, you know, and then after that, I'll rewatch 7-on-7 one-on-ones with the receiver coach. So now we just watched that and we watched it again so that way he get another look. And then now we got to watch what practice look like the next day. So what I mean by watch is like we're looking like, let's say if it's third down period. We got to watch all the third down cut-ups of what that opponent will run. And then we got to try to match that up to what we think they're going to run on this situation against this formation. So now we put in the scout cards, and then, you know, so you're done that at night, and then you come back in the morning, practice in the morning, go to eat, and then now you're watching practice afterwards. So that was new to me because we usually, I don't know if you do how you guys do it, but when I was at Co at first, we would not watch practice until the next day as a staff. Mm-hmm. So we would go home and then come back and watch it. At Rutgers, it was practice and you watched it right away because they got the equipment, they got the power, they got the manpower, so they could upload it real quick and then watch it. So that was pretty cool.
Yep. Coach, so they said Coach Quiroga said, is it like padding, Coach Campos? He said, yep, it's called padding. And so I said, what's padding? He said, what Charles just said Belichick does with assistants. Okay, I average 12 hours a week of film study, Coach Gardner says. Literally writing up every play, down, distance, and responsibility of every player. The Huddle Hours Watched feature is a source of discussion in our house. I like that. Yeah, Huddle Hours Watched. we used to. So our guys, our assistants started getting competitive. Like it was like a big mark of shame to be the low man on staff. You did not want to be the low man on staff.
So is there a limit? I guess not a limit, but is there such thing as too much film?
Probably. I mean, listen, I don't think there's too much football film for the sake of your football career, but there's probably too much film for the sake of your life. Right? I mean, let's face it. I feel like our lives, our coaching career is limited if we don't force upon ourselves some sort of balance, right? Because you do have a gas tank that will actually run out.
Gotcha.
You
That's
know,
such a good point.
you really do. And it happens to you all. I think it happens, and this is where it happens. So when you're your age, you're 30-ish, right?
29.
Okay. So here you come. 30-ish, as I said. You're just seeing all that's ahead of you, like the future, like the goals, right? And that was me. Goals. I want to get to here. We have to get to here. So I became the head coach. And then it was like, okay, well, now we want to be legit good. Okay. So 2015, we're legit good. We make it to the state semis, just get knocked off. But to me, like that, technically, I'm a head coach now, established. We were good. Like, you're at the point that, like, that's what I had always worked for. Mm-hmm. Always. And you realize, like, there's not necessarily higher than this. Now, there is, right? There's like, okay, you win a title, okay, and then you win 2 titles and 3 titles. But ultimately, like, what you're trying to get to me, I feel like titles are, there's a handful of things that are a little bit out of your control when it comes to titles. You know, sure. And so you can't really let that be the dictator. To me, the dictator is, are you in the conversation at the top? What's it take to get to there? So now I get to that point and I'm like, okay, what goals are left? Like, this is just the process now. So now it's just keep doing this. And then that is where, right there is where burnout set in. It was immediately after that season, for the first time, I felt fatigue for the first time. And it was because the goal was no longer out in front of me. Like, I don't have this insatiable desire for championships. I don't. Like, some guys are like that. Because I've heard guys say it, like, once I get that ring, I'm done. Like, I got to get that ring. Got to get that. I don't have, I would love to, listen, I'm a competitor. Listen, I want to win. But I have just been around sports my whole life, in so many sports, and been around so many teams that I know were like, whether I was a part of them or an assistant on them or was next to a coach that was, right? Where it's like, we're in it, and you don't win it because of who knows what. Like the X factors are ridiculous. So I could easily retire without a title. I don't feel like that's like the dictating thing for me. But I could tell that the fatigue set in the second I felt like I didn't have this huge goal anymore way out in front of me. And so that's when I started kind of redoing the way I was doing things, like becoming more process-based. I think ultimately it was a good thing. But the only thing that wasn't the good thing was that now all of a sudden fatigue was a real factor and I had to be aware of it.
Gotcha.
Because now I'm 42 and you just have less energy when you're in your 40s than you do when you're 29. You just do.
I'm pretty sure your kid's older now too. Your wife wants you to spend time with her. So now you got to balance that family life with everyone, which is a young 30 guy like me. We don't have that. So I get that extra energy from not having those things. But no, I get it. I think it's super important to get that balance. I've been very fortunate to be around coaches that understand that, right? Coming in, like some coaches, hey, you got to come in at 6 a.m. and you can't leave until 10 p.m., right? So it's just all about trying to find that balance to avoid the burnout. I haven't experienced it, and I guess I got to find out what would that be. But also been try to do a good job of being aware of my mental health by taking breaks and seeing. When I mean by breaks, it's like when we're in the off season, it's like July, I am literally away from football. I'm with family, taking a vacation. I enjoy that because I know from August to, March, April with the recruiting, I'm full go. So that month's enough for me because at some point of that month, I'm bored and I'm ready to go back.
Yeah. Yeah, good for you, man. Well, shoot, we're over time. Last couple comments in there, Coach. Hey, Kareem Owens in the house. CHS 21, it says. Thought I missed this. Kareem Owens, where are you from, man? Where are you from? Let's see. Coach Gardner says, I used to coach 3 sports a year. Only football is a breeze. Football, 10 days off, then wrestling, then track head coach, starting first Monday of January through state finals. Oh, my gosh. Martin Quiroga, I never even cared about the title, to be honest. I just want to be around guys that are obsessed as I am. Coach Gardner says, I lost 100 pounds. I have more energy now. Good for you, Coach G. You can't lose 100 pounds, though, and run the show Cover 2 barbecue. That's going to be hard. And Ben Johnson says, Tuesday and Thursday, I'm an assistant coach for my son's 3rd and 4th grade team. Oh, my gosh. That was at his and my wife's request, so I could spend more time with him. Okay. Yeah. So he's going to school. He's coaching at the high school team. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, he's coaching his son's team. That's a grind. But if your son's on the team, then you're right. Like, that's a little bit of time with the boy. And you got to do that. Well, yeah, man. Watkins, I would just say, you seem to, listen, you got a great head on your shoulders. I'm super impressed for as young as you are. And that's not an insult. I just remember when I was 29, I was still, I don't feel like I had a handle on it the way you do. I don't feel like it did. Maybe, who knows? You know, right? Hindsight's 2020, but I think that you're in the right direction. What I would just want to encourage you, all of the guys that are out there that are in their 20s, is just make sure you've asked yourself this question. So you've got your coaching goals, right? And I've heard you say what yours were. I'll just take a night and put pen to paper and say, if that goal can never happen for me, now what am I after? Right? And I just feel like that's important. I think that wasn't something I had prepared for. I think my goal was for all this time, I don't know what it was, but I think it was like the best head coach ever in history of man, right? Something to that effect. You know, it was the short of it. And when I realized that I couldn't achieve that, I went through a hard year, maybe 2.
Gotcha.
And I think that to have a good, long, sustainable career, you need to avoid that tough year or 2 that I went through when I was a little bit struck going, oh my gosh, I'm never going to achieve what I actually thought I was.
So it's funny you asked that, Nate. So I'll save it for next week, though. Remember it. Write this down, because I literally had a heart-to-heart moment. And I tell you, the best moments come in the shower. I literally, a light bulb went off, and I got the answer to that question.
Okay.
I'll save it for next week.
Okay, then that's where we'll start off next week. Right there is what happens if that big one, the big dream, doesn't happen. So I can't wait to hear your response. Guys in the chat, thank you so much for joining us. And these guys stuck around with us the whole night, man. Q, Johnson, Gardner, Campos. And we even had a couple new guys check in. I know earlier in the night we had Eddings check in from Cali. And whoever this was, who was it? Something CHS 21. Where did it go? I missed it. Kareem? I missed it. Kareem Owens, CHS 21. So thanks for joining us, guys. Watkins, closing thoughts?
I like the piranha in the background.
Oh, yeah. I told you that's my thing. That's my thing.
Love it.
Piranha's on 3. 1, 2, 3. Piranha.
Piranhas.
We'll see you.
Later.